Let battle commence. The English Civil War Society provided a dramatic pageant for the opening ceremony at Carisbrooke Castle. Wearing full period costume, they gathered in and around the castle and exchanged fire, although this time there weren't any bullets. "19 islands competed in this, the 5th Island Games. For the first time, the Games have royal patronage. Her Royal Highness the Princess Royal enjoyed a 200-yard walk into the natural arena where the ceremony was held. Her path was lined with guides, St John's Ambulance badgers and cadets, all of them revelling in their big day. As an experienced and successful sportswoman, Princess Anne had no trouble capturing the mood of the occasion, and the 2,000 athletes showed her how they felt.
Firstly, can I say what a pleasure it is to be here and to be a patron of these games. May I also say that I once had the good fortune to be in a similar position to those of you down there, and I'm going to keep my few words pretty few. Above all, I hope that you will enjoy this occasion. Good luck, yes, of course, everybody needs a bit of luck. Luck for the weather, luck for performance, luck for all sorts of things. But these games, above all else, I hope will be about enjoyment for everybody, for the island, this island, and for all the islands who've taken the trouble to come and join us. So thank you for joining us, and it is my pleasure to declare the 5th Island Games open.
I bid you a warm welcome to this great event, the 5th Island Games. Many of our guests and competitors have just arrived and not yet had a chance to appreciate our island. Here in Carisbrooke Castle, you can look around and feel some sense of our history and the pride that we take in it. We're all islanders, getting together, sharing our sport, our culture, our heritage, and our friendship.
The Island Games came into existence in 1985. The Manx government in the Isle of Man decided that in their year of sport to actually put on this friendly tournament between islands. They then got together islands from around Europe that had actually been to the Isle of Man and had associations with the Isle of Man, and they created the Island Games. It was then called the Inter-Island Games. The first games were very friendly. People just went along for the fun and didn't realise how competitive it could be, but since then, I know in Guernsey it got a bit more serious. And then when it went to the Faroe Isles in 1989, they became very, very serious over it. They spent millions on actually preparing the games themselves. And the competition jumped. And then in Orland in 91, the games records were being broken all the time. And obviously this time in 93, we're going to find that it's jumped up one more stage. I know some of the swim teams now, the times they're getting, they're European standards now.
This is the first time the Falklands have sent a team to the Games, and Tracy Porter poured some of their seawater into the island mix in a symbolic ceremony of unity. Time then for the Island Games flag to be unfurled and raised on high to the strains of the Games anthem. The song was composed by Laura Charlton and Vanessa Reeves from Ryde High School.
The Games literally kicked off an hour later with a football match between hosts the Isle of Wight and the Isle of Man. This was the 150th match for the Manx men's national side, but it wasn't a happy night for them. A crowd of 1,500 people watched the Isle of Wight show why they were one of the favourites for gold. The match was settled by a blockbuster from Kevin MacArthur, but the soccer tournament was to throw up a few surprises for both these teams as the week's contest unfolded. Sunday was hot and humid, ideal for holidaymakers, but not so good for taking part in a triathlon. The swim began at Sandown. Graham Stigant from the Isle of Man led the way, with Christine Johnson just behind. Men's favourite Darren Perkins was also having a good swim. As they came out of the water, Christine Johnson from the Isle of Man was a close second, a remarkable achievement. But her domination was about to end. The Isle of Wight's Darren Perkins helped set the course and knew he could build up an unassailable lead in this section of the race. He quickly overtook Johnson and Stigant, and as he sped through Shanklin, the race settled into a predictable pattern. Perkins simply looked unstoppable. Jersey's Steve Hickson was one of 3 men contesting the other medals. Teammate Guy Webb proved stronger on the bike and moved into 3rd. But Russell Clash, also from Jersey, proved more resilient than both of them. Johnson retained her lead throughout the cycle, but was tiring badly. Jersey's Amanda Gibbs looked strong and was closing fast. Perkins looked a certain winner as he moved into the 10k run. But the real drama came in the ladies' race. Johnson withered in the heat. Gibbs was less than a minute behind. But a new challenger had appeared. Jackie Fletcher was closing fast on the leaders. Fletcher overtook Gibbs and Johnson on the run. Gibbs tried to go with her, but literally couldn't stand the heat of her rival's running power.
Very, very, very hot, yes. Had to make sure we were drinking plenty. Important to get plenty of fluids when it's like this. I was in 3rd place anyway when I came out of the transition. I wasn't sure what the time difference was, but once I got up onto the cliff path, I could see the 2 leading women in front of me, so I had them in my sights from quite early on. I'm mainly a mountain biker actually, so I've done very little running, but I think it's just a case of what you've got left at the end, and I had plenty there today.
In the men's race, Darren Perkins finished a minute ahead, but he was so dehydrated he needed medical treatment. Russell Clash took silver, winning the duel with his Jersey teammates. Guy Webb took bronze with Steve Hickson 4th. The Isle of Man's Jackie Fletcher was nearly 4 minutes clear at the end, a great achievement. Amanda Gibbs was 2nd, and early leader Christine Johnson took bronze. The windsurfing was held at Sandown and conditions on the water were near perfect all week. Force 3 to 4 westerly winds have meant great racing. For these championships, all of the competitors have the same boards and rigs. They were all shipped in from France specifically for the Games. The competitors faced a gruelling week, with 3 races of 7 miles each day, plus distance events. In the individual contest, the battle for gold was between Guernsey's Mike Birch and Ross Williams from the Isle of Wight. Ross is one of the new breed of windsurfers. He's young, just 13, and has recently been selected for the European Championships.
I started doing local events when I was about 8 years old, and then I went to the youth national events and built it from there, got better, and this year I'm starting to do the selection events, and I've been selected for the World Cup.
If you win this event, how would it help you?
Well, it'd be a great booster, obviously, for funds and sponsors, hopefully.
So what's the future for you for windsurfing? What would you like it to be?
Well, obviously the Olympics, and then take it from there.
Think you're going to get that far?
Well, we'll see.
The last day of the windsurfing championships was the long-distance race over a 24-mile course. Everything hung in the balance for Guernsey. In the individuals, Mike Birch was leading after a brilliant third day, winning 3 races out of 4. And in the team event, Guernsey were leading the rest of the pack. The winds got even stronger, perfect for the Guernsey lads. A westerly wind gusting to force 6 was ideal. The Guernsey team are all big men and sail at their best in the strong winds. Mike Birch and teammate Ollie Day romped around the course, finishing first and second. That gave Birch the gold. Williams had to settle for silver and Day took bronze. There was a delay as the points were totted up in the team event, but in the end, Guernsey took the gold by a whisker, with a silver medal going to the Isle of Wight.
Really glad that Guernsey's won. We sailed for Guernsey and it was a team effort. We did well in the end, yeah.
Good conditions for you today, was it? Just what you wanted last day?
Yeah, plenty of wind for the whole team and just happy that we won.
Half of Alderney's team was competing in the golf, but one team member was unable to get to the games. The remaining 3 are all good club golfers, but realistic about their chances.
I think we're really here to make up the numbers. There's only 3 of us and we're up against real class. Our combined handicap is more than all the Jersey boys put together, you know, and that's only 3 of us. And seeing as how the best 3 scores count, just takes one of us to blow up and that's the end of it. But we're hoping not to come last.
That tee shot at the first may have been a horrible way to start a tournament, but Tony Grabham recovered to get a very good par, and all 3 men did reasonably well in the tournament. The Falklands golfers were also here for the fun of it, but they are very serious about their sport.
The Falklands haven't participated in any international events other than shooting, and we thought this was a good opportunity to start getting involved in sports with other people. With only 2,000 people, it's reasonably easy to be the best in your own sport in the Falklands, but you can't raise your own standards unless you get out and play with other people. So that's why we decided to come here.
The weather finally broke on the last day of the golf. Driving rain and strong winds made conditions extremely difficult. Overnight leader Richard Harrop had a nightmare on the front 9. He was 7 over at the turn, and then on the 11th he fired his drive on this short par 3 into a bunker. His chip went well past the hole and he 3-putted for a double bogey. It was effectively the end of his challenge. The Isle of Wight's Dave McToldridge was the only man who really mastered the conditions. He had 2 birdies in a great round, and it was his putting that really sealed his victory.
The golf course is, it's pretty basically set out, so it's not too difficult to follow. But there's a lot of instances on the greens, or just chipping onto a green or something. I knew what the reaction was going to be, or if I couldn't quite read a putt, I remember that it came in from a certain side.
McToldridge just needed a par 3 on the 18th to be sure of victory, and he duly drove to the heart of the green. A final tournament-winning putt to give him a 73. His victory was all the more remarkable because he suffers from a fairly serious back complaint. With 5 weeks to go before the start of the Island Games gymnastics, organisers were still looking for a venue. In the end, most of the gymnastics was held in a heritage centre, which weeks before had housed steam engines. The week of events that followed was dominated by Iceland. Much of the team's success is due to their Chinese coach. The style and energy of the Icelandic gymnasts was a joy to watch. After a last word of advice, John Finnbogason went out and added 2 more gold to the Icelandic haul, winning the compulsory event and the floor and vault. Johannes Miles Sigurðsson won triple gold, including the 3-piece overall. They were practically unstoppable. Linda Logadottir won the tumbling and Sigurborg Olafsdottir won triple gold in the compulsory, the floor, the vault and on the beam. Tora Eliasdottir won double gold on the asymmetric bars and the 4-piece overall. Iceland won 13 of the medals on offer. Their domination would have been complete, but for superb efforts from Jersey's Martin Shields and Janet Santos, who won 1 gold each. But overall, this contest belonged to the sinuous grace of the talented Icelandic team.
It's very important to come and take part. The games, they're a great thing to come to, it's a great atmosphere. It's wonderful to be a part of it all, and if you miss out on it, you're really losing out on something. And so it's good for Orkney as well. For Orkney swimming, gives them a boost as well.
Peter Bergen won 3/4 of the Orkney's medals. Peter put in a brilliant swim in the 400 metres freestyle. He was just 0.4 of a second from snatching the gold, and his time was more than 4 seconds inside the old record.
Yeah, this is the first time that I've been aware of any noise on poolside at any competition that I've ever been to. The noise here is just phenomenal. It's brilliant. I really like it though.
Guernsey's Sam Herridge dominated the ladies' freestyle events, winning the 200 by more than a second. And in the 400 metres, she smashed the old record by more than 2 seconds. Sam also cruised through the 400 metres individual medley to take her 3rd gold.
I'm a lot more experienced now, and it seems to have worked out for me.
So what's your long-term ambition?
My long-term ambition to reach the Olympics for England, or for Great Britain. So hopefully I'll do that. First of all, Commonwealth though.
This superbly organised 4-day swimming gala was also special because it saw Gotland pick up their first ever swimming gold. In the 100 metres freestyle, Johan Karlsson took on and beat one of the Island Games' most experienced swimmers, David Picken. It was very close, and afterwards Johan revealed his secret tactics.
In the last lane I was just thinking about winning. Yeah, that was that. I wasn't really sure in the beginning because the false start made me very worried, but also very mad, and I think that's why I won it. And I shaved my legs today also, this morning. There were some guys from Gibraltar who told me to do it, and because so I should go down on 54, and so I did, so I guess they're right.
All the years of training also paid off for Hogni Hansen from the Faroes. In the 100 metres breaststroke, he beat Jersey's Matthew Breo by just 0.03 of a second. In this event, the 200 metres breaststroke, he left everyone in his wake, taking his 2nd gold medal and smashing the game's record by 2 seconds.
It's been like planning for 2 years and 2 years again and 2 years now. This is third Island Games, and I started right away, work on it right after last year, and intense training until right now.
How much training do you have to do to get that good?
I'm only doing six sessions a week, about 15 to 17 hours, and a bit of weight training. I have a full-time job too, so it gets tough once in a while, especially in the winter time when it's dark and you get up and everything.
The Isle of Wight's Michael Hooper was probably the man of the Games. He won 6 gold medals, 5 of them in individual events. On the way, he obliterated 3 Games records. He was nearly 5 seconds inside the record in the 400 metres freestyle, 7.5 seconds inside the old mark in the 200 metres individual medley, and in this event, the 200 metres butterfly, he did even better. Hooper's time of 2 minutes 6.06 seconds was more than 10 seconds inside Picken's old record.
Well, since March, I haven't been in the water at all, apart from 3 weeks prior to the Games, because I've been studying for my finals. But prior to that, I've been doing 2 sessions a day, almost 5 hours in the water a day, and land work on top of that. It's been really good. It's been, well, down at the pool, it's been an excellent atmosphere. The team as a whole has been really brilliant, excellent support. Can't ask for any more from the whole team. It's been really good.
Jersey's Rebecca Brewer won 10 gold medals, including 5 individual golds, a record that's unlikely ever to be beaten. She dominated the backstroke events, breaking the record in the 50, 100 and 200 metres.
On the last lap of the 200-metre race, I just remember I was in a lot of pain, but I was just saying, keep going, go for it. I was just trying to keep going. I remember I was in a lot of pain and my legs were very sore.
Were you surprised when you finished and saw you'd broken the record?
Yeah, I was very surprised. I knew I had a chance of breaking the record, but I didn't think I'd break it by that much. I was very happy with my time. And
afterwards, there was a nice moment with your Guernsey counterpart.
Yeah, we're good friends, me and Michelle Tomlin, so it's nice. We support each other a lot.
What about the rivalry? Does that not get in the way?
No, not at all. Yeah, we're rivals in the water, but out of the water, we're really good friends.
Rebecca won 5 of her gold medals in the relays, helped by the formidable Jersey team. And yet, just before the Games, her coaches nearly pulled Rebecca out of the tournament. She had a knee injury which restricted movement, especially for the breaststroke. But after last-minute treatment, she passed a late fitness test. She went on to win her 4th and 5th individual gold medals in the 50 and 100 metres freestyle. It was a splendid achievement from a remarkable athlete. And she's still just 15 years old. The badminton final had all the hallmarks of a classic, and it didn't disappoint. It was a repeat of the All-Ireland final, with Guernsey facing Jersey. First rubber in the best-of-5 final was the men's doubles. Guernsey's Andy Podger and Mark Ledbetter won a close first set, but the Jersey pair of Ian Coombs-Goodfellow and Adam Garwood came back to take the second 15-6. The Guernsey pair, though, reasserted themselves in the third to win 15-9. First blood to Guernsey. Wendy Trebert and Sarah Lemoyne made it 2-0 in rubbers when they defeated Jersey's Alex Harris and Lana Brogan in straight sets. With Guernsey hot favourites to take the men's singles, it seemed all over for Jersey. But then in the men's singles, the fight back began. Jersey's Ian Coombs-Goodfellow won a thrilling first set by a single point, and then cruised through the second 15-1. It was a rare poor performance by Guernsey's Darren Letizier. In the ladies' singles, 14-year-old Danielle Lefevre swamped Guernsey's Bridget Hunt in straight sets. Danielle is a member of the British junior squad, but the brave fight back was in vain. Mark Ledbetter and Wendy Trebert cruised through the mixed doubles, beating the Jersey pair of Adam Garwood and Carol Worley in straight sets in little more than half an hour. It was the first time for 10 years the Guernsey pair had played together. So the Guernsey domination of this event continues. It was the 4th time Guernsey have taken gold in the badminton team event.
It's great, I can't believe it. We worked really hard and it's lovely. Really enjoyed it.
2-2, what were your thoughts going on and playing with this man here?
Well, I didn't expect to be in that position actually. I thought, we would have done it by then, but Mark and I haven't played together for a long time, but luckily we hit it off.
In the rest of the tournament, Guernsey's Darren Letizier was back to his best. He set an unbeatable record on the last day, winning every single gold medal available to him. To add to his team gold, he won the men's singles, the doubles with Ipsy Wangsa, and the mix with Bridget Hunt.
We got the team and a bit of luck with a good draw and came all the way through all the finals. Very hard this morning, but very pleased.
Now, you lost your singles in the team event. Did you think, well, the week wasn't going to go quite so well?
Yeah, you could say that. I mean, I had a tough match in the morning and then I had the chance to win the actual team event outright on my own, but it wasn't to be. But, I had a really good draw, fairly comfortable getting through to the semis, and the semis were hard this morning for the men's singles, and the final probably even harder.
Netball is one of the demonstration sports at this year's Island Games. 6 teams battled for the title. The winner was decided by a complicated league system. In the first game, the Isle of Wight in Cerise beat the Isle of Man. The Falklands ladies improved as the tournament progressed, but they struggled against the best sides. In this match, Guernsey beat them 88-7, and they were beaten 99-2 by Jersey. But in the true spirit of the friendly games, they kept smiling and never ever gave up. The Orkneys only won 1 match in their games, but it's an experience that they can still thoroughly recommend.
There was 3 games that were quite difficult. We had a good game against Isle of Man. They beat us 28-24, but it was nip and tuck right till the end. And the rest of the games we were really outplayed. It's good fun, right enough, but you come to learn, and we do learn things when we come here, and we hope to go home and pass it on to the younger children at home for future years.
How important do you think the Island Games is?
Very, very important, and it's most important that netball's kept in it.
If you had to sum it up, what would you say is the inspiration for somebody coming here knowing that they're unlikely to win a medal but wanting to take part anyway?
Well, I think it's most important that they've got to come and be prepared before they come. They've got to train hard, work hard towards it, and enjoy it when they come, because it's nice to meet lots of good competitors from other places.
In the final, Jersey's skill and tough style of play were too much for the host team. Jersey slowly extended their lead as each quarter passed. Jersey's supporters were certainly dressed for the occasion, and they soon had something to celebrate. The Isle of Wight fought bravely, but it wasn't enough. Jersey won by 52 goals to 35.
It started with as a British thing, and Isle of Man wanted to invite the Scandinavian islands due to the link with the Vikings. And that's how Åland, for example, Gotland, Greenland, Faroes and Iceland came into it, and then it's just grown. And small islands that don't, too small to compete on their own in major championships, but they still want to get international competitions through, and that's, I mean, for example, Rhodes, the Greek island of Rhodes, has applied to join the games. Unfortunately, the application was too late for them to take part in these games, but I hope they'll be there in Gibraltar. And they're not even English or anything, don't have any links to the Vikings, so now it's just a question of being small but still wanting to do something fairly big.
In the same way that Iceland dominated the gymnastics, Scotland swept almost all before them in the table tennis. In the team event, they won all their games to take gold. Only Jersey could begin to live with them, and they took silver, losing just once, inevitably to Scotland. As the tournament progressed, the skill and speed of Krista Pettersson, Roger Dahlbom, Yvonne Sjoberg and Jenny Nygren seemed certain to pull off a clean sweep of the 6 available medals. They duly won the men's and ladies' doubles, the mixed doubles, and in the singles, Scotland took gold, silver and bronze. Only the Isle of Wight's Regina Stevens prevented a Gotland whitewash. She won the ladies' singles. So how challenging was it for them? Coach Ola Granlund.
Well, I don't really know, but I think that our island is participating in the national Swedish league, and we have the opportunity to meet good players and maybe get experience out of that.
Now, Jersey have run you a little bit close in 1 or 2 events, but basically you've dominated. Is it too easy for your players?
No, I don't think so. But it's difficult to have a high standard all through the games the whole week, and maybe you can't play your best all the time.
But they played brilliantly most of the time and fully deserved their success. All the other teams certainly have their work cut out if they're to overcome this deadly combination of speed and skill.
Before we came here, we hoped to win these medals. So it means a lot, but we hoped it before that we should win.
The judo organisers also had trouble finding a venue. Eventually the tournament was held in a primary school. At 12 each day, the mats had to be folded away so the classes could have their lunch in the gym. It was this type of cooperation and helpfulness which is typical of the friendly games. And the sentiments also stretched into the ring, where even in the heat of battle, the competitors still had time to smile. The Isle of Wight's Jeff Keane was the most successful man in the tournament, winning double gold, in the over 95 kilogram class and in the open category. Jeff was in superb form and won every bout he fought. The Prince Edward Islands brought quite a small team to these games, but they were confident of success in the judo. Sadly, one of their best players, Garth Matthews, had to pull out at the last moment, but he came along as coach.
We're going to give it our best shot since this is our first time that judo has been in the Island Games from Prince Edward Island. We don't know how to measure ourselves against the European competitors, but we're certainly hoping to give them a good run for their money.
How big is your team, and where are your strongest competitors? What groups?
Actually, our strongest competitor had an injury about 3 months ago, and he's here as team coach. But all our 7 competitors are strong, and we're hoping to get some medals. Yes, we have 1 female and 6 males. Yes.
And they did. The Prince Edward Islands' only gold of the games came in the judo. Michelle Garnham won it in the under 66 kilogram class.
The girls were very strong, and I was just unsure of myself. It was a lot of fun. It's fun now. It wasn't fun before. I was very nervous before.
The Isle of Wight expected to do well in the judo and duly won 5 golds in the men's tournament. But the Faroes also did well, taking 3 men's titles, including this win by Ingi Torgadi.
The fifth Island Games were privileged to receive 2 royal visits. The Princess Royal returned on the 5th day of competition. She took an enthusiastic interest in all the sports she visited and showed a considerable depth of knowledge. During the day, she visited 7 sports: badminton, athletics, netball, swimming, volleyball, windsurfing and archery. During her visit to the archery, she spent time with each of the teams. Her second visit to the Games nearly had an unfortunate ending when she lost a brooch somewhere on the tour. It was found at the Medina Centre by swimming coordinator Alan Ayres and returned to the Princess Royal.
52 archers lined up to contest 2 disciplines, compound and recurve. 7 new records were set in the recurve competition, 3 in the ladies and 4 in the men's, proving that standards continue to rise in all corners of the Games. And 2 of them were set by all-round archer Håkan Linden. Håkan was second for the first 2 days, and then brilliant shooting on day 3 brought him to a tie with Jersey's Dale Ranson. 31 archers contested the recurve competition, and the fine sunny weather brought out the best in all the competitors. Alan Munro from the Isle of Man was 4th after day 1. His form improved all week, and superb performances on the last 2 days secured the bronze medal. On the last day, Jersey's Dale Ranson beat Linden by just 5 points to claim gold.
I thought maybe I was in with a chance, possibly a bronze, but I've had no experience whatsoever. And I'm just dead chuffed to be here. I'm dead chuffed to be in such nice company. It's been a great 4 days. It's been very hard work, and I want to get home.
How did you become involved in archery then?
Well, I started about 4 months ago. I used to shoot when I was a junior, but I started 4 months ago, and they just put my name forward, and I shot well up until the Games, and it's managed to carry on to now. So I'm well pleased.
The Orkney's William Grieve came 31st, but it was a performance truly in keeping with the spirit of the Games. He scored just 42 on day 1, but that had risen to a very respectable 376 by day 4. In the ladies' recurve, Seya Turv from Sarema took the bronze, edging out Anne Kovacic from the Orkneys. But Jill Gordon from the Isle of Wight was the lady on the best of her form. Jill set 3 new records, including 2 for her final totals. She finished 144 points ahead of Jenny Smith from Innismon. Jenny had led the competition on day 1, but finally had to settle for silver.
This is my 3rd silver medal, so it's a case of 3 times the bridesmaid, never the bride, isn't it really? But they've always been great fun. I've always enjoyed all three of the competitions that I've entered. You make friends, a lot of the people that I've recognised from 6 years ago, you know. So and you see them year after year after year, you exchange phone numbers and photographs, and 2 years on I'll be exchanging photographs that I've took this year with people I hope to meet in 2 years' time. All being well.
Freeze and put your hands on the car. Yes, 38 caliber police pistol was in the Games for the first time. The targets are only revealed for 2 seconds, and the competitors shoot at several different distances. In the true spirit of the Games, Jersey lent the Iceland team their weapons. The Icelandic guns were held up by customs at Heathrow. The Guernseymen mastered the art fractionally better than the other islands and walked away with individual and team gold. There were 3 rifle disciplines: English match, air and 3x2 PSK. As in many sports, each discipline tended to be dominated by one island. Jersey in the English match, Gotland in the air rifle. In the PSK, honours were shared between the Isle of Wight and the Isle of Man. Sark's tiny team had their best chance of medals here. They didn't get any, but thoroughly enjoyed the experience. The most successful shooter was Gotland's Peter Nordgren.
I shoot many competitions in Sweden every year. And this year I have even shot competitions in Luxembourg and in Helsinki in Finland and in Iceland, of course.
Where will you go from now? What will you be looking to? Where do you want your shooting to take you?
Well, for the next few months I will be doing the Swedish National Championships in 3 weeks. And after that I will do to the European Championships in Czechoslovakia. in August.
Frøya sent two competitors, Arne Stoksvik and Steinar Sivertsen. They both competed in the standard pistol, coming 11th and 12th.
My friends from Frøya, they have been on Island Games before, and Åland and Isle of Man, and so this was very funny and a good atmosphere in Island Games. So when I heard that, I want to go.
Is it true that you'd actually quit?
Actually, I quit shooting, but when I heard this, I started to shoot again.
In the clay pigeon competitions, the Isle of Man won the individual honours, David Clark won the skeet and Peter Kelly the ABT. But there were a few hiccups. A stunt plane flying overhead kept setting off the clay pigeon traps before the shooters were ready. The first cycling event was a street race through Ventnor. From the start, four men broke away from the pack. In the front, James Reed from the Isle of Man and Paul Rogers from the Isle of Wight. They were followed by two other cyclists, also from the Isle of Man, Mark Harrison and Andrew Roche. The Isle of Man have always been the top cycling island, and the four-man breakaway steadily increased their lead. After 50 minutes, those that had been lapped were retired, and the race continued over 5 laps. Those left in the pack weren't about to give up, but it quickly became apparent that the race for medals would be left to the front runners. James Reed just pipped Paul Rogers to the post in a last-minute sprint to take the top prize. The Isle of Man's Mark Harrison won the duel with teammate Andrew Roche to win bronze, but Roche's hour was to come later in the week. The Isle of Man were hoping for a clean sweep when the 100-kilometre road race started. They'd already won the team time trial. 40 riders from 9 different islands were at the rolling start, which took the riders onto a 5-lap course through some of the Isle of Wight's finest countryside. After the first 12-mile lap, a group of 4 riders had made the jump on the rest of the pack. They were headed by Paul Rogers from the Isle of Wight and Guernsey's Dave Hobson. Top Shetland rider Carlos Rees broke from the pack and tried to catch the leaders. The corners in the little villages were tight and were quickly followed by numerous climbs. It was a tough, demanding circuit that suited the riders with stamina and climbing ability. The Shetland cyclist's brave try for glory was unsuccessful, and he was caught by the rest of the pack. This type of course certainly favours the Isle of Man's talented squad. The terrain is quite similar to the type of courses they race on at home. A number of men dropped out, but a new wheel and this cyclist was back on the road. At the halfway stage, an ominous sign, pre-race favourite Andrew Roche rapidly catching the leaders. Where all previous challengers had fallen short, Roche powered on, eating up the ground towards Rogers and Hobson. He clawed back a minute and a half in just 1 lap, but the Isle of Wight's Paul Rogers was determined not to give up without a fight. Behind them, Jersey's Jason Luce and Hobson were locked in a struggle for bronze. Roche was just too strong for the rest of the field, and he finished a full 3 minutes ahead of Rogers. He looked a tired man as he crossed the line in second place. Jason Luce shook off Hobson to finish third.
A lot of the riders on the island, they do race away in England and Ireland quite a lot. I'm not sure if the other islands do or not, so I suppose we do get a bit of racing experience through the year.
You're used to a lot tougher standard of competition.
Yeah, like myself, I'm racing away every weekend, like for the past few years, so it does bring you on a bit.
What are some of the biggest races you've been in, Andrew?
I've ridden the Commonwealth Games and I do the Premier League in England, which is like all the top Pro-Am races, so it's quite tough.
Scotland's formidable tennis team were confident that they could do as well as their table tennis teammates. Their 2 top players were seeded 1 and 2, but Jersey's Jeremy Cross hadn't read the script. Jeremy, seeded 8th, played the best tennis of his life to knock out Michael Knutus, #1 seed and reigning Games champion. In the final, Carl Lindberg took the first set 6-4. Cross came back really well to take the second 6-3. Then in the third, Cross showed real steel. He came back from 2-5 down to win 7-5 and secure the gold medal. Gibraltar's Lee Whitwell was certainly the best lady in the tennis tournament. Lee was on the verge of playing at Wimbledon as a wildcard entry, but sadly for her, her entry wasn't picked out of the draw. Like Guernsey's Darren Letizier in the badminton, Lee set an unbeatable record here, winning every gold medal available to her. In the latest team event, she helped her teammates secure the top spot. In the mixed doubles, she won gold with Lionel Cipollina, and she added a third gold to her collection in the latest doubles, playing with Jessica de Souza. Lee Whitwell won her 4th gold in the ladies' singles. Jersey's Emma Barnett put up a good fight, but Lee won the title with plenty to spare. She won the first set 6-1 and the second 6-3. The only thing that took just a little of the shine off Lee's superb week was the weather on the final day. The mixed doubles final, in which she won one of her 4 gold medals, and the men's doubles final were cancelled due to the weather. Indoor facilities were available on the mainland, but under Island Games rules, all events must be played somewhere in the Isle of Wight, so the gold medals were shared. Jersey athlete Claire Forbes only decided to compete at the last minute, and her competitors must have wished she'd stayed at home. Claire won the 800, 1500 and literally ran away with the 3,000 metres.
I could hear the Isle of Man girl on my shoulder for the first 2-3 laps, but you know, when her breathing sort of disappeared, I thought that, you know, I was out there by myself. I knew that she had dropped off the pace. I was hoping that maybe she would sort of like take a couple of laps and I'd take a couple of laps and we would sort of like both run really good times, but it didn't work out that way. It's a bit windy out here today. I did actually feel under control for once. I mean, I haven't been running for about 2 months really, and I just started training for this about 2 weeks ago, sort of twice a day. I just got out there and really decided just to put my guts on the line and go for it, really. I just got out there and went for it.
Guernsey runner Jay Peat also had a golden time on the track. Building on the experience of Orland, she won the 100 metres hurdles. The closest, most exciting win came in the 100 metres, where she narrowly held off the challenge of Jessica Can from Gotland. Jenny Holden came third, but her best was yet to come.
Well, I've just finished my course at Loughborough after doing PE and Geography. Of course, Loughborough's renowned for its sport there, and I've been training hard out there for this. And I've done a good time as well today, so I was very pleased with it. I'd love to go to Commonwealth Games, but I've got to get my time down a bit yet, so, but not too far off it, so It'll be good.
So it's 2 events, 2 goals,
Yes.
and you've got 1 more to come.
Yes, doing the 400 hurdles tomorrow. And I haven't done the event, I've only won a proper race once before, but I've been training quite hard for it, so we'll have to see how it goes, but I don't know what the competition's like for it at all.
The competition in the 400 metres hurdles was tough, but Jay was tougher, and she secured her 3rd gold medal. Jersey's Ellen Richings won silver. The Isle of Wight's Jenny Holden won 2 gold medals to add to her bronze. She wants to compete in the Commonwealth Games and the Olympics, but this event was just as special as shining on the world stage. It was a rare opportunity to win in front of her home crowd. Jenny is a junior international, and 400 metres is her event. She went clear of the field early on. The Isle of Man's Julie Moore showed she has a good finish, but not good enough. Jenny won by more than half a second in a time of 57.23. Jersey's Louise Smith took bronze. Jenny rounded off a great games with gold in the 200 metres.
I think to date this has got to be one of my most proudest moments because it's in front of my home crowd. The Island Games is like really special to me because it's such a friendly games anyway. I was just really chuffed to be up there at the top of the rostrum basically.
We have a stadium which is slightly bigger than this one, which holds about 6,000 people in the audience. Our track is very similar to this one, but it's slightly faster for the runners, and we have AstroTurf in the centre.
Are there any sports that you can't cater for?
The only one is golf, obviously, because of the smallness of the island. You would have to be firing the golf balls into the sea and hope they land somewhere in some hole.
What is your message to all the people who will be coming down there in 2 years' time?
Well, the message to the people who are coming down there is to bring a nice big hat because it's very hot. And I think they're in for a nice holiday if they really choose to do so, because the people of Gibraltar are looking forward to this Games.
After their success in Åland, Sarema came into this tournament as favourites to take both titles. In the Ladies' League, their closest rivals were Åland, who earned a place in the final by winning all their matches and without losing a set. Guernsey was second in the group and qualified for the semi-finals. Åland, though, were clearly in a league apart. They beat Guernsey 3-0, 15-7, 15-9, 15-4. Sarema also reached the final with ease, but they did lose 2 sets on the way. Their toughest match was the semi-final against Guernsey ladies, who've improved considerably since the last Games. Guernsey ran them close, taking the first set 15-12, but Sarema then took control, taking the next 3 sets. In the final, though, Sarema showed why they're favourites and beat Åland fairly easily, 3-0. Faroes won a tight match with Guernsey to take bronze. Sarema were expected to do the double, but Åland gave early notice that they were not to be taken lightly. They won their first 2 games easily, but then came this match, possibly the game of the tournament. Faroes led 2-1, but Åland fought back to win a titanic struggle, 3-2. Sarema, by way of contrast, cruised through the early matches, winning all 4 without losing a set. But the final was a different matter. Åland played inspirational volley, surprising everyone by taking the first set 15-13. The second was fiercely contested, but once again Åland won it 15-13. The third went the same way, 15-12 to Åland, and it was all over. A memorable victory and sweet revenge for the ladies' final. Sarema's dominance of the volleyball was well and truly over. Greenland were the surprise team of the soccer tournament. They beat top seeds Anglesey 1-0 and played silky football. It caused national rejoicing, because Greenland is soccer mad.
It was a nice surprise for us, for the team, and I think the people in Greenland would be very glad over this victory, because we didn't expect to win today, since the Unismon were favourite to win this game.
Was there were thousands of people listening tonight?
There were direct transmission to Greenland, so there must have been a lot of listeners.
It was Adam Gregg, though, who decided the destination of the gold medal. He scored all 4 of Jersey's goals in their 4-2 victory over Greenland, and then notched 2 against Innis Mon, including a crucial late equaliser which took Jersey to the final. Jersey were in superb form for the final held at Newport Stadium in front of more than 2,000 people. They were 4-0 up before the Isle of Man showed how well they can play. A sweet move was finished off in some style by Peter Langridge. But Jersey's skillful team were rampant, and fittingly Adam Gregg scored the last goal of the tournament. It made the final score Jersey 5, Isle of Man 1. Adam Gregg scored 9 goals in all, yet another record that will take a lot of beating.
Things went well. I suppose chances came and they put them away. Missed chances like that before, but just so happened to hit a purple patch and they went in. And, oh, we kept brilliant, marvellous, outstanding.
The win put the final gloss on a Great Island Games for the Jersey team.